People. With the new drone rules in the UK and the ability to fly in congested areas with zero separation from people, with drones like the Mini 2, we're going to be having more interactions with people than ever before. Hey everyone, my name is Sean and welcome to Geeksvana. Today we're going to be talking about people approaching you whilst you are droning and give some advice which works well for me. There's also a couple of free downloads for you to print out and take with you whilst you fly. Before we get into the main subject today, if you're new here at Geeksvana, hi, and please remember to hit the subscribe button if you get some value from today's video. For your convenience, there is a playlist linked in the description, which is our UK Drone Rules series. Check it out after this video. During my years of flying drones throughout the UK, the times I was ever approached by the public or authorities was actually few and far between. However, now that I'm flying drones in congested areas, especially with the freedom of the sub 250 gram drones, this frequency has increased dramatically. Which makes sense. The more people around when you fly, then the more likely it is that they're going to want to come and talk to you and take an interest in what you are doing. Now, although a lot of focus is usually on angry people approaching you and wanting a confrontation or paranoid about your reasons for flying a drone, thankfully these type of interactions remain relatively rare. Although because the more confrontational the experience directly correlates with safety, then it is important to be ready for every type of interaction. My first bit of advice is not to assume why the person is approaching you and try to view the whole process as a bit of a PR chance for the hobby. I tend to find a smile and a hi helps to start most situations out better. Everyone's different though, so you need to find what suits you. Now let's take a look at why that person might be approaching you. It could be out of fear, anger, or just interest or knowledge. Whatever the reason they are approaching you, the most important thing is to ensure they are quickly made aware that you are flying a drone, and in the interests of safety need to focus completely on quite literally the job at hand. One thing to consider is what type of outcome you as the drone flyer wants from the situation. For me, I just simply want to ensure that I am focused on my expensive drone and chatting to someone else doesn't cause damage or create a safety issue. With this in mind, I usually attempt to diffuse any confrontation and minimize issues. I would personally rather a simple land and walk away than enter into a long-winded confrontation, which will probably have more to do with the other person's personal issues than your drone flight. If they have a valid concern, I'm usually happier to land and discuss the issue with them, especially if they identify themselves as a landowner or authority representative. Now, I'm not trying to say we should lay down and let people walk over us, and sometimes the best reaction to confrontation is, well, confrontation. However, consider the issues should things escalate out of control. We're often flying with a lot of expensive tech in tow, and my personal priority is getting the drone down and safe rather than ranting at someone who, even if I debated the rules with them for a year, might not see my point of view. There is something about trying to have a rational conversation with someone who has irrational views. One thing to consider is if you do decide to land your drone to talk to the person, make sure you do so in a safe manner away from them. Ideally, you should not need to land the drone or divert from your intended flight path too much. Now, there's a link in the description to a PDF handout. There's a couple of different versions to suit some of the most common flying situations, such as general hobbyist, sub 250 gram drone, A2 CFC holder, and Article 16 authorization flights. These PDFs can be saved and printed to take with you whilst out flying and handed to anyone who approaches. I keep one in my pocket ready to go. When it's safe to do so, hover your drone and hand the person the leaflet, explaining to them that you're unavailable to talk at length. Their initial reaction will determine your next steps. Each of the handouts have their own explanations, however, they all share the same basic explanation. Let's take a look. As you can see, the handout is titled Drone Flight Information, and in red at the top of the A5 PDF are two short lines. The person handing this to you is currently flying a drone and must keep their full attention on the aircraft. This first line informs the person what you are doing and why you cannot fully engage. The form continues, please do not interfere or distract them, as this could be dangerous and a criminal offence to do so. Please read below for more information. This helps to explain that there is a safety concern and gently prompts them that they should not be interfering with the flight of an aircraft. The middle section of the form aims to provide general information in order to prompt the person approaching to carry out their own research and to hopefully allay any fears they might have that the flight is illegal. We have deliberately kept the middle section open to interpretation in order to cover more scenarios. For instance, where it states this flight is being conducted in accordance with the UK CAA drone code and the following are in place if required, this allows for those who do not need a flyer ID to still use the forms as it states if required. The checkboxes confirm IDs in place, airspace checked, insurance in place if required, and CAA rules being followed. This covers most of the areas of concern that people approaching the flight might reasonably have. The next paragraph is intended to help educate the approaching person in terms of the changes which have come into place. It could well be that they were aware of the old rules and did not know, for instance, that we can now fly our drone here in the UK in congested areas as a hobbyist with the right drone and/or certificate. At the bottom, we have created 3 QR codes for people to scan, which will help verify the information provided. The first one leads to the CAA drone code, the second one to Altitude Angel's excellent online map, dronesafetymap.com, essentially a web version of the Drone Assist app, and a link to download CAP 722. Whether or not many people will actually visit these is doubtful, but it does give the backup to the information provided. There are also black and white versions linked in the description below in case you do not want to print them out in colour. Also, let me know in the comments if there are any other versions you would find of use and we'll happily create more versions. Okay, so you have hovered your drone and handed over the leaflets to the person, to which they say thank you and disappear on their way and your flight continues. This, of course, is the best outcome. However, if the person continues to escalate, my personal next steps would be to land the drone safely, recover my equipment and make sure it is all in a safe position within my control, then look to defuse and deal with the person so you can continue with your flying. In terms of getting into heated debates and arguments with the person, I would personally advise against this. If you feel you are in the right and the person persists to the point you feel in any way in danger, you should also consider recording the interaction with your local police via the 101 service, or if you're able to wait until after the situation has ended, via the online reporting portal. In my opinion, getting into a heated argument or worse would only give them what they want and allow them the ammunition to have police involvement against you. Long before it gets into a position of requiring third-party intervention from authorities, and again, this is only my personal advice and I know everyone is different, I would remove myself from the situation and simply walk away. Although I realise that due to travelling to the site or other reasons, walking away might not always be the most practical thing. And of course, I feel strongly that we should not simply be chased off from legal flights. Next, we'll look at a couple of the potential issues that you might come across and my personal advice on how to handle them. First up, privacy. Now, this is a complex issue all of its own, and we do have some specific videos on Geeksvana coming up which takes a deeper dive into this area. However, my general advice would be to inform the person that you're not looking to capture any images or video of them or seek to identify anybody individually. I usually explain what I am looking to capture and also explain how little focus detail the drone picks up. Again, the amount of information I am generally willing to provide directly correlates with their attitude, as I'm happy to have a calm chat and not just justify myself to a ranting objector. Another common complaint might be regarding safety, and here I would refer them back to the drone code on the leaflet and the drone safety map. I would simply ensure they know I'm aware of the rules and always fly within them. Also, it might be worth informing them that the new UK drone rules are a risk-focused set of rules, so safety is always a key aspect. This section is purely for advice in terms of how I would handle things. Everyone is different and you should have a think beforehand about how much information you want to pass on. There will be a point for all of us where we no longer want to provide info or justify the flight and instead refer them to authorities if they have concerns. It's a personal call, and I suppose my main advice here would be to have a think and decide where your lines are before the situation occurs. To be fair, the vast majority of people I have interacted with have been curious more than annoyed, so please do not let this potential put you off flying in legal locations and put you off the hobby in any way, shape or form. So again, these PDFs are designed to help you and minimize the amount of time you need to interact with people approaching when you're flying your drone. It is not designed to put you on the back foot, and the vast majority of approaches you will experience will be overwhelmingly positive, but it's good to be prepared. Let me know in the comments below your experiences of approaches from people whilst flying your drone, especially if that's happened since the new UK drone rules came into place. It would also be interesting to hear feedback from flyers in other countries, so let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you are one of the awesome people still watching, it would mean the world to me if you could hit the like button. Again, you can find a link to our UK drone rule series in the description below. See you in the next video.